I've watched Tennessee. I didn't buy into the hype to start the season, but I'm reasonable considering the ridiculous litany of injuries they've had on the defensive side of the ball and losing their star running back to transfer midseason. Like, I understand why they collapsed at the end of the season, especially defensively. Okay, but I would fire Butch Jones not because of the champions in life line that he used last week, because I knew what he meant. I'd fire him for this one reason. They're down 11 at Vanderbilt. They're in the red zone, fourth down. They don't get a play in time. They got 3 timeouts, and they call a timeout instead of just lining up and kicking a field goal. And then they could have tried an onside kick. And if they didn't get the onside kick, they could have gotten a stop. They had 3 timeouts, get the ball back. And, of course, in college football, if you get a first down and the clock stops anyway, because he has absolutely positively no idea how to manage a game situation. That was proven last year in the loss to Florida, and it hasn't gotten any better this year. I would fire him, but not because of their play on the field. What do you think?
Well, how about giving up 45 points to Vanderbilt? I mean, that's their output for a month usually.
I know, but he has no players. Like, his whole defense is hurt.
Yeah, but you know what? I started thinking about that. Florida has 10 players out for the SEC championship game, 6 starters. That's an NCAA probation worth of players. Are they going to beat Alabama? Probably not. But you absolutely don't hear Jim McElwain making that excuse. And look, after they lose to Alabama, everybody in the SEC is going to have at least 4 losses, except Alabama. It's a down year for the league. Not making excuses for Butch Jones. I think you're right in everything you said. And I'm not saying he shouldn't lose his job, but that was a bad look at Vandy for all the reasons you mentioned.
All right, let's get to Alabama. Let's just say, if somehow Florida beat Alabama, Alabama would still be in the college football playoff with Florida?
I think they'd have a tussle with Michigan, with a Colorado if they beat Washington. I'm trying to think of who else.
But Florida wouldn't be in the college football playoff if they won this weekend, regardless of winning the SEC.
No, they wouldn't be one of the top 4 teams in the country. No.
Okay, so it only proves that this idea of winning a conference championship really doesn't mean as much as people are trying to lead some of us to believe it means, correct?
It's right. It started if you want to go back, Doug, it started in 1992 when Roy Kramer expanded the league and put in the playoff game. I didn't think he knew it then, but right there, that devalued a conference championship, because even in that setting, an 8-4 team could upset your undefeated best team, and you lose out on a bowl shot. What became the BCS? What became the playoff? To the point now where the Rose Bowl is a fallback for the Big Ten champions. Now that speaks to the Big Ten's excellence this year, but you never want the Rose Bowl to be a fallback. But it has been since the BCS started. In certain years, the value of a conference championship has just been diminished. Even a division championship. Florida was a survivor in the East. I don't know if it was dominant.
Right, and of course we're seeing. So with that in mind, how do you think that plays out when we ultimately have to select 4 teams a week from now?
Well, tell me who wins. If it's chalk, I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem either way, actually, because, look, people just have to understand the first rule of all the rules that are written into that document for the CFP is 4 best teams. They can consider conference championships. They can consider head-to-head. They can consider schedule strength. But you can't necessarily be outraged that 2 teams from the Big Ten would get in. I could make a case equally for Wisconsin and Penn State. Penn State won the head-to-head, but they lost to Michigan by 39. Wisconsin, if they win, will have played 6 top 10 teams at the time of kickoff and won 4 of them and gone 4-2. And that stretch in the middle of the season, I'm surprised Jim Delaney didn't step in and go, no, this isn't right. There was like 4 or 5 games in the middle of the season where they played. It was a Burma road. It wasn't fair.
All right, so give me your – forget about what happens then. Michigan just lost. Mm-hmm. Who are your top 4 teams right now?
Oh, right now, I think that the 4 that are at the top, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and who am I missing? Washington. I think clearly those are the 4 best. Now, they still have to win to prove it. Ohio State obviously is done. But there's nothing what can the committee do to Ohio State? They've told us for now 3 weeks that they're not only the number 2 team in the country, but also the best team in the Big Ten. That hasn't changed. So I think they're in without playing, obviously, Saturday. And if those other 3 teams win, I think they're in. I think it's easy to do it that way.
Dennis Dodd joining us from CBSSports.com. It's the Doug Gottlieb Show, CBS Sports Radio. What's your reaction to the Tom Herman hire at Texas?
I thought the whole thing was handled sloppily. Not at Texas, not at LSU, just everything. Something changed last week to the point that Charlie Strong was given 1 game by the administration after they had 3 years to evaluate him. In other words, had he beaten TCU, he still might be the coach. That alone is outrageous. Number 2, I think I read this somewhere. He was fired on Saturday, and Tom Herman was hired or agreed to a deal 53 minutes later. Thanksgiving night, a lot of people had him signed, sealed, and delivered at LSU by Saturday. I think there's a lot of manipulation going on here with the agents, and not only are the schools and the coaches being played and the ADs, but the media to some degree, and I put myself in there too. You know, we want information. It just seems to always work out for these guys. But the Tom Herman thing, I mean, Texas could not afford – think about this. Texas could not afford to pass on a coach with 2 years head coaching experience who has lost been a double-digit favorite against 4 teams and lost them all, UConn, Navy, SMU, and Memphis.
Yeah, he also beat, Auburn last year in the bowl game.
Right.
He beat Oklahoma this year.
Right.
He beat Louisville this year. And he was the offensive coordinator when they won a national championship. I mean, even when they hired Mac Brown, remember when Mac was at North Carolina, he couldn't beat Florida State, right? They kept winning. Yeah. They won 10 games, but they could never get over the hump and beat Florida State. So, I mean, you're not going to – there's a reason that he will – you can't go undefeated. If you go undefeated, that's great. Urban Meyer went undefeated, obviously, at Utah and I think at Bowling Green. You go undefeated at Bowling Green?
I think he did at Bowling Green, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but, it's
But the whole thing's accelerated now. It's just those examples I gave you. It's just crazy.
I agree, but in summation, at the end of the day, they got a really good football coach who knows the state of Texas. You feel like, they've screwed up the quarterback situation, the offense, ever since the last couple of years of the Mac Brown era, right? They haven't been able, ever since Colt McCoy left, they haven't been able to figure that thing out.
09.
Right? And you bring in a guy, and that's what he figures out a way to get it done. He had a wide receiver playing quarterback at Houston, and if you do well with, they're back. Texas is back, no?
Yeah. I think they did hit on Tom Herman. He wants to be there. He knows the state recruiting better than just about everybody. He's charismatic. He's a good coach. He's got a quarterback there, frankly. The best talent in the state and the country will flock to him. So there's no downside. I mentioned that because along with those wins, you also have to consider that he had those losses.
No question. No question. And it's hard to run that style and put a defense out there, as we've seen from other teams in the Big 12. Okay, then you go to LSU and Ed Orgeron. And I started the show, Dennis Dodd joining from CBSSports.com. I started the show saying, look, when you get turned down by 2 different girls, you don't, first girl to walk by and flirt with you don't, regardless of what she looks like, you don't necessarily ask her out. But that's kind of what LSU did. It feels like a Bill Stewart move. I like Coach O, and I know other people who've been around Coach O swear by him, but because they beat Texas A&M, you're going to hire him? They had showed nothing offensively against Alabama. They couldn't win the big games when he's at USC. He didn't win when he was at Ole Miss. And he feels like just because he said nice thing and talks the talk that they hired the guy when he couldn't really get a job like this at any other school.
Yeah, there's 2 different narratives here because in a way you can't disparage Ed Orgeron because he's remade himself. He has been an interim coach now. The 2 big-time programs have gone 11-4. You hear through the grapevine he's changed. He can run an entire program. He's a different man, different coach. That's great. Good chance for Coach O. The other narrative is he's their 3rd choice. Joe Oliva screwed this up for 2 straight Novembers. He screwed it up last year when he planted that story about Les being in trouble. He failed to read the tea leaves then that, he was going to gain support and thus Jimbo Fisher was going to drop out. And for reasons I still don't understand, except that Jimbo Fisher wanted to stay at FSU, he didn't land him and ended up with his 3rd choice. Can't you find that out from Jimbo Fisher pretty soon after you fire Les Miles on September 26th? I mean, this is absolutely, he will be, I will lay odds, he will be fired before Ed Orgeron is.
Wow, Jimbo Fisher will.
No. Joe
Oh,
Oliva,
Joe Oliva.
the AD.
Joe Oliva. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's very, very possible.
Yeah.
Dennis Dodd joining us on CBS Sports Radio. There have been talk about Lane Kiffin going from offensive coordinator at Alabama to offensive coordinator at LSU. Likelihood you think that happens?
I think all of that is predicated on Lane. Is that a lateral move for him? Is there a head job out there for him? Or is that, if they throw $2 million a year at him, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But in terms of prestige and, being at the top, he's Alabama's offensive coordinator. He's got 3 rings. He's coached 3 Heisman winners, 2 at USC. I don't know if that's a better job. It might be more money. Lane's got to get on with his career and decide what he wants to do, because I don't think his ego is going to allow him to take a Mountain West job. But that might have to be the case. You rehab your image, you rehab everything you are, then you jump back up into the Power 5. He's only 41 still.